Hello, welcome to Subjective Insights. Today I'm going to give my thinking on the rapid succession of crises that we seem to be going through. Um, I think the cause, well, not the cause of these crises, the events that these crises label, like Brexit, COVID, the riots, and the things behind the Black Lives Matter movement. I think that there is a real reality behind them. I think there is systemic racism in a lot of countries, and I think that there may have been an actual kind of virus behind COVID. I haven't really looked into it too much. And with the Brexit issue in England, that actually happened, or whatever the crisis is in your country. But if you look at the Black Lives Matter movement, systemic racism is centuries old. It's been around in this form in a way it is recently for decades, since Martin Luther King and way before that. So that policemen were murdering black people for decades, and yet now there are riots about it. Why are there riots? There are riots because the poverty levels have been increasing. You know, you look at the wealth distribution, and you see that since Thatcher and Reagan, since the market turn, where we went from the Bretton Woods system and Keynesian economic policies in macroeconomics to neoliberalism, the divide between the rich and the poor has been getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And that's because the level of exploitation by the poor by the rich has been increasing. And my belief is that these crises, what the function of the news is to distract you from that exploitation. That's what the function of all the advertising is. That's the function of all the entertainment. How many news articles, news things do you often read that you can actually do anything about? So, in a sense, what the news is conditioning us into is a form of apathy by raising within us this ire, this anger, this worry, this angst that we then can't do anything about. And so it makes us passive. Again, I'm not saying that the things the news reports is false or true. I'm not saying either of those things. I'm saying it functions as a distraction. And it's a bit like, I remember years ago I had a toothache or some pain, I can't remember where, and my dad said if you pinch your earlobe, what you can do then is you can focus on the pain of you pinching your earlobe, and that'll distract you from that worse pain you have. And that's what the news, the entertainment, that's what the whole distraction engine's for. It's to distract us from the pain of being exploited, because that hurts like a motherfucker. And of course, as the exploitation increases, so the level of pain it causes increases. So the level to which you've got to squeeze your earlobe to distract yourself from that also increases. Therefore, if you look, I wouldn't, to test this theory, you could look back over the last 30, 40 years, and even before that, and compare the rate at which the kind of news that is put out there and the rate at which bigger crises occur. Because as the exploitation increases, the level of distraction has to increase, so the level of crises would increase. That's a prediction I would make that you could use to test this theory that I'm saying. And that's why, whenever I get political, whenever I get all like that, I focus on that exploitation. I don't focus on gender inequalities. I don't focus on race inequalities. I don't focus on sexual preference inequalities, because I believe that all of these inequalities are just other forms of that, you know? That basic inequality between capital and labour, between the haves and the have-nots, and how the haves have been exploiting the have-nots increasingly over time. That's the fundamental inequality, I believe. And all these other forms of inequality, they come out of it. Because do you think the rich fuckers, do you think that the billionaires give a fuck about where you're putting your cock? Give a fuck about the colour of your skin? No, they don't. What they care about is getting more of that from you. That's what they give a fuck about. And then they create all these things because they're amoral. They are amoral. And the main ground upon which people criticise homosexuality, criticise the black lives and all that kind of thing, is on a moral ground. They don't give a fuck. The rich people don't. So I don't engage in the distractions. I'm just like, no, slavery hasn't vanished. The amount of money that you earn, the amount of money that you produce when you work, that goes to your boss in profit, that's slavery, son. Because it means when you were working to produce that money that was the profit, you were working for fuck all. That's what it means. Anyway, goodbye.